So I didn't come into this hyped. Honestly, I just needed a second to remember where everything was. Julius was forgotten by Gluttony, Pristea was saved, Rem is still asleep. It had been, I don't even know how many years at this point, and when season 4 dropped, I was just kind of like, okay, let's go back. And then within 5 minutes, I was fully back in. Not because of some big dramatic cold open or a flashback recap sequence, just because ReZero dropped the 3 massive unresolved problems in the first few minutes and moved immediately toward the new destination. That's the show. That's always been the show. And somehow, that is still enough. Rem is still asleep, Crush has lost her memories, Julius has lost his name, and the show doesn't ease you in. It just pulls all 3 in front of you at once and lets you deal with it. Which sounds overwhelming, and in a way it is, but ReZero earns that, because they explained everything clearly enough that it didn't feel like the homework I had forgotten from last season. They took their time where they needed to without overcooking it. You got back up to speed without sitting through 15 minutes of recap. It just pulled you back in naturally. Of the 3, the one that sits most interestingly for me is Crush. Even though she's barely shown in this episode, I just liked her character from season 3 and I want to see more of her. Rem being asleep has been going on long enough that it almost feels like a constant now. Yeah, I know about that. But Julius is the active hot topic. He is there with them, not sleeping like Rem, not off somewhere else. He's present in every scene while also being forgotten by the people around him. That's its own specific kind of painful. Anastasia proposes the Pleiades Watchtower in the Agria sand dunes as the destination. Answers for the memory and name problems might be there. The Sage Shola is said to be located there. Did it feel like a natural next step? Honestly, no. It felt convenient. Like the show needed a location and found one that could hold all the threats at once. But I wasn't bothered by it, because with ReZero, I've learned to just expect that. And also to expect that wherever they end up going will probably involve Subaru dying several times before they figure anything out. That's just the deal. Classic ReZero. Melee gets brought in to help the group travel through the desert and its map beasts. And here, I'll be honest, I don't remember Melee at all. Like, at all. She appeared and I was just, who is she again? This is the one part of the episode where I felt like I actually needed more, and a little more reintroduction is what I mean. A little more context. Because right now, she's just a name and a face, I don't know what to expect from her. This one I didn't see coming at all. Subaru pulls Anastasia aside for private conversation and gradually realizes this isn't Anastasia. And she confirms it. She is Echidna, using Anastasia's body with Anastasia's consent, but currently unable to return it. I couldn't tell from the signs. I wasn't picking it up. So when it landed, it genuinely caught me off guard, which is exactly what a reveal like that should do. The detail about Anastasia's consent is the part that sits with me. Like, imagine being Anastasia, that happening to your body, even with consent, even knowing it's temporary, even if she's in some kind of deep sleep and doesn't fully feel it. That's a strange and uncomfortable thing to think about. And if I were Akidna, I think I would feel genuinely bad about it, stuck in someone else's body with no clear way out. But here's my thing with Akidna. I don't trust her. I enjoy watching her, definitely. She's interesting, and I want to see more of her, but there is something calculative about her that I can't shake. She looks like she could be good. She also looks like she's always 3 steps ahead of everyone in the room and has her own reasons for everything. And that's exactly the read Subaru seemed to have too. You could see it in his expression, that uncertainty of whether or not to be hostile with her. The animation made that work. The scene did its job. This is the scene I have the most complicated feelings about. Not because it wasn't good, it was, but because of the timing. Garfield reunites with his mother. He approaches her, tells her who he is in a way, and she doesn't recognize him. Her memories of him are gone, and she comforts him, genuinely, warmly, without knowing his identity, without knowing why he needs it. That specific detail is the scene's best moment. She embraced what he needed without any questions. without knowing anything. And there is something almost eerie about that in a way that connects to the Julius thread. Like how the people who had Julius close to them now feel like something is missing without knowing that what. The mother comforting Garfield without knowing who he is hits the same note. The care is still there even when the memory isn't. But here is my honest feeling. This scene would have it so much harder at the end of season 3. We had a break between seasons. The emotional build-up that existed in season 3 for Garfield's arc, that's dissipated. For someone binge-watching all 4 seasons in one go, this probably lands perfectly. But for those of us who watched season 3 when it aired and then came back for season 4, there is a gap. The momentum is gone. And I think ReZero missed an opportunity by not finding a way to include this in the season 3 finale. Because here, it slightly feels out of place. Not badly done, but not as devastating as it could have been, at least for me. Here is what I didn't expect. How fast it moved. Not in a bad way, in a genuinely impressive way. They left Pristea quickly. They introduced 3 major problems. They addressed Garfield's arc with his mother. They set up the destination. They dropped the Akidna reveal. And they did all of that in a standard 20-minute runtime without it feeling rushed or without it feeling like they needed a 50-minute premiere to do the job. Some animes use a long first episode to really establish everything, and that can work well. ReZero just trusted that you would keep up. And it was right. What I appreciate the most about this show, and what this episode reminded me of, is how it handles its cast. ReZero has an enormous number of characters, and it somehow keeps all of them. Separate arcs, but then they don't shy away from putting everyone in one setting and making it work. That's genuinely hard to do. And I'm curious whether season 4 is going to add more. We know the Sage Shola will be new. The cast already feels full in the best way possible. I want to see how they manage it. Going into the rest of the season, I want to see Rem wake up. I want to see what happens with Crush. I want to see what ReZero is going to throw at this group that feels new while keeping everything that's already been built intact. Because that's what it's always been best at, being creative with the obstacles while honoring the characters. Season 4, Episode 1 is a setup episode, but it's a productive one. It didn't waste your time, it didn't make you sit through things you already knew just to ease you back in. It pulled you back, handed you 3 problems, gave you a destination, dropped a reveal, and moved. I'm back in, fully, and I hope it keeps the momentum going. Because if this episode is the promise, I want to see what the rest of the season delivers on it. If you have watched ReZero and want to share where you think the season is going, drop it in the comments. And if there is another anime you would want to see covered, let me know down there too. See you in the next one.